Hello and welcome back to Week 8, day number 1 of the OPL. We're going the distance, all 6 games, baby, as Sin Gaming bring it back to the 1-1. Before we get into this game, however, I do have an announcement to make right now. Twitch is down, so there are a couple of issues with the stream. Head over to YouTube, and if you want some updates on it, check out the social media page on Twitter. We'll be able to keep you updated there. However, in this series, 1-1, yep, I didn't think that Sin were going to be able to pull this one out. I thought Avant had shown enough in the last couple of weeks to put themselves into that top 5. There seemed to be a bit of a gap. However, Sin, with a very hectic style of team fighting right now, is just coming up the goods.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had AV sort of 2-0 in my mind, but having watched the game, it's not a huge surprise to me that it played out that way. Even watching the first game where AV were obviously in control the whole game, I still felt like there were still opportunities where it was just looked a little off. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Sin still had small windows here and there where it was like, well, I don't know, maybe Sin can do something. And AV ended up winning that game. But after game 1, I definitely thought like, okay, if that happens again and a few things go Sin's way, I can definitely see them picking up a game here. Yeah,
and that's certainly what the case has been, because even though Avant were so far ahead, they were like 10,000 gold up ahead of all game 1. They took like 36, 37 minutes to close it out, and it was not the cleanest closeout. And as series get more messy, this is what happened when Chiefs played Sin in Gauntlet last year, and they were able to beat them. The games got worse and worse as it went on, and Sin were just happier and happier as the series progressed. And they were nearly able to run that Gauntlet. They're a momentum-based team because Juves is an emotionally driven player, I feel.
Yep. I mean, there's something to be said about fatigue in esports, well, and particularly League. Like, you sort of get mentally drained a little bit, or, you know, you lose a bit of focus, or, you know, it's those 1%ers that I forgot that he was doing this camp. Like, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to buy this component on my first base and not this other one and it's those small things, and the more games there are and the longer the series goes on, you sort of start missing more and more of those little 1%ers, and yeah, before you know it, a very good team finds themselves up against it because they're not doing the things that make them so good.
Yeah, exactly right. As we jump into pick ban phase right now, Camille, Tristana, as well as the Gangplank being banned away, Zaya, as well as Rise and Galio banned away on the side of Sin, so not wanting to give the global champion over to Frey. He goes back to the Azir, and it's going to be Braum Sejuani, a pairing that used to have great prevalence on the first 2 picks on red side. It's been a while since I've seen it in that order, but I like the takeaway.
Yeah. I mean, they're obviously synergized extremely well. Both their passives result in a stun based on auto attacks. You know, I don't know, they're both icy, I guess.
Like both from the
synergizers across the board. But what I want to ask you about is, what's your opinion on allowing the enemy team to continue to play the same champions? Because I've seen Frey, I've seen Frey play 2 very good Azir games so far. They've let them first pick it away here. They have to have known they were going to take it, and yet they've banned Rise, which they did well on, and they've banned Galio, which Frey hasn't played yet.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's one of those things that you kind of banned away your counter pick to what is a champion that will be first pickable, and it's whether Dream wants to go whether Bedoink wants to go back towards the Victor, which honestly it looked like it took too long to be relevant. When it did have the 3 items, it looked okay. But for the first 1.5 item, it kind of doesn't do all that much.
Yeah, but I suppose I mean more like, I think it's important to make the enemy team uncomfortable.
Yep.
Even if they're playing a less than optimal pick, I would prefer that my enemy doesn't play the same champion, because I can guarantee you, if he's making mistakes in game 1 on Azir, by game 3, his Azir is probably going to be, you know, at the best level that he's going to play Azir. Yep. And so, for my money, I don't want to see Frey, you know, he was scooping you around in game 1, let alone after 2 games of warm-up.
Yeah, absolutely. The support pinch comes out right now for Sin Gaming. They take away Tariq, which has been, honestly, the pick of the day so far, as well as Alistar, which Jake looked okay on. Yep. Corky going to join the bench right now.
Curious to see whether or not Jake opts into a ranged support. He loves playing his Nami and his Janna and his Karmas.
Nami Ezreal used to be the old school bully lane. It was real hard to stop Nami Ezreal back in the day.
Because tags you with one of those
stupid Tide Caller's blessings.
Yep. He hits you with the Q with the little bubble, and you can't move anymore. And he's so mobile.
So they're going to hold Bedoing's pick, even though they know what the mid-jungle duo is right now, and instead they blind pick themselves a Nah, champion that Praetor has had mixed success on, to be honest, so far in the OPL.
Yep. Nah, sort of a few weeks ago, he was, of the utmost priority. Every team was first picking or banning him. Sort of fallen by the wayside a little bit as tanks have... He seems less punishing in the matchup than he used to be.
And I am, for one, very happy that Bryce is no longer my casting duo, and it's you here with me, Carbon, because I just want to be able to sit back and enjoy a good, clean Bard game without Bryce talking about Nash's Tooth, Leandra's Torment Bard.
I personally hate Bard. I think he's a garbage champion. I'm not saying he's not fun. I'm sure he's fun, but he's just useless.
And yet you used to allow Cupcake to play it a lot when you were on the team with it.
Yes, well, I also believe that you should let your teammates play the champions they're good at.
So two conflicting halves of Carbon. This is like Harvey Two-Face Carbon. Did you used to flip a coin and allow him?
That's the nature of man, isn't it? Cognitive dissonance.
Bard is one of those champions that when you play with him as a support, he's never in your lane. You die over and over again. And when he's the enemy team, he like Q1 hits you with electric.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I hate him so much. When he plays on my team, I'm just 1v2 in lane while he's just sprinting around the map, catching chimes. But when he's on the enemy team, he's slapping for me for more. But even then, like, he really offers so little in the team fight. His pick potential is not great unless your team is winning.
Yep.
And he really doesn't offer that much in the lane. I mean, okay, yes, with Electrocute and with the slaps and the Q, like, yeah, he does do a ton of damage if it hits.
But he's so short range.
It's all front load damage as well. Once he does it, like, that's it. So, yeah, not a fan of the Bard, although...
what about all of Rusty's Bard's names when he used to be in O's, when he was like Buster Chime,
I like those.
Two Chimes?
I'm a fan of those.
Yeah.
I love a good name. When I see a good name, they get an honor from me.
It's one of those things that it's just a 1%er in League of Legends.
It is one of those 1%ers. You just see a good name in your team and you think, you know what, I'm going to try extra hard today.
Yeah, I'm going to hit that guy up with a friend quest afterwards if he plays well. I'm going to give him the tilt proof.
There's no other honor. If you're honoring people for anything other than staked cool, like, you're doing it wrong.
As we are on to Summoner's Rift now for game number 3. Game number 6 on the day. It will be Avant Gaming on blue side taking on Sin Gaming. No love lost between these two teams. We haven't talked about it.
No, we haven't.
But old foes in the gauntlet, and Jews would love to stick one in right now and really take over this game.
Yeah, one of the few rivalries left in the OPL. One of the few clubs that really have an active dislike for each other. Pretty much across the board, across the OPL. Everyone's sort of friendly enough. Chief's Legacy, all those players who were involved in that rivalry have sort of split up. But AV Sin is one of the few that they still have an active dislike. And so the outcome of this game, I'm sure both teams will be extremely happy.
And it's actually spreading. It's not getting any better because FBI and Rogue came, and they were obviously Sin's bottom lane. They don't necessarily like playing against Avant. So now Order kind of has something going on there. I'm sure that a couple of people from Avant that have gone to other teams have also carried on that legacy. As right now we see...
Hang on.
Oh, this is a dangerous face check. Will he get over the wall? No, he will not. He's going to get stunned up. He's going to get stunned up twice, and he's going to fall down. Ooh. That is first blood and an immediate pause of the game.
Got to think that only my flash not working or something. I couldn't flash. I don't know.
Couldn't hit the blast plant, couldn't flash, couldn't get out of the game.
His mouth is going 1,000,000 miles a minute in that pause, so it's definitely in you. Juve's congratulating himself for being a genius.
That is the 300 IQ coming out right there.
He knew it was going to happen.
He knew it was going to walk in, says Bedoink. I feel like that is communicating.
And Dream taking it as serious as ever. Yeah. Probably focusing on his meditation.
Did you see the Twitter photo?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, he does look very similar.
So what is your overall rating?
On
like how similar are they? Yeah. I'll pull it up on my phone just
like a 7 or an 8. I mean, I would say that their faces are not that similar, but they have the same hair, and that makes the face look more similar.
Okay.
But like he's got blue eyes. He's got a bit of a sharper jaw, I think. His nose is more downturned.
He's got a piercing stare.
He does. People at home have no idea what we're talking about because they don't have the photo in front of them, but... Rest assured, guys, all of my insights are accurate.
But the thing I want to show you, as you keep talking for a second, because I'm going to find a different picture for you.
Yep. Yeah, no, I wonder what it was. My guess is either the blast cone couldn't
He's
auto
got a
weaken
sidekick
flash.
in the show.
Yeah.
And I just like to picture that as Dream and that is Jubes.
Blonde, tanned Jubes.
Blonde, tan, buff, short Jubes. Which in my head makes so much sense, and I feel that no one else that ever looks at that photo will they see anything. But when they stream, they're next to each other. Actually, check out both Jubes and Dream stream. I like when Oceanic players stream.
Do you?
Yeah. Claire streams.
He does. He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's fun. We say this so often. He's just fun to stand behind. You know what Claire does, which is really funny? When he plays Casio, he E's so much. Like, he's just smashing the E and he's hitting it so quickly that when he stops and he takes his hand off the keyboard, his hand continues to vibrate and his E finger is still like twitching to do the E movement. It's like, it's insane to watch. I don't know if there's something wrong with him, but it's so crazy to watch.
It's really interesting, though, because E also, if they're just about to go out of range, also stops her from moving. So I find that when I watch Cassiopeia players play, when they're on a neutral objective, they will be mashing E.
Yeah.
And then when they take a calculated trade in lane, they're actually very deliberate with their auto spacing and their E's.
Yeah.
So I just find it's so funny to watch when they're just mindlessly going through the combo versus when they're actually trying to execute really seriously on it.
Well, you got to weave those snakes in.
Yeah.
And that can be difficult if you're just mashing the E button.
Yeah. Cassiopeia has one of the weirdest attack animations in the game. I feel like champions that have a spammable ability to CS, like Cassio and Karthus, they just give up on the attack animation. They're like, we're just going to give you something real dodge.
Yeah, I mean, Cassios is not that bad. They improved it a lot. I don't know if you remember, but they did have that patch update where they gave her a quality of life buff, changed her auto attack, made it a bit easier to last hit, which I think has been massive because when Cassio was meta, when she had that level 1 E, we saw a lot of E auto level 1 kills. Nowadays, E gated a little bit and you can't really do it as much, but that quality of life was pretty big. Karthus, unfortunately, he hasn't received that yet. I mean, actually, I think he did.
Yeah,
and his
he
auto
did as
is
well.
still just so bad.
He waves it down now, whereas in the past, it used to be like a weird flick at the top.
Yeah.
But both of them suck. He has 44 attack damage or something at level 1.
Yeah.
So even if it's the smoothest, you could give him Ezreal's auto animation, which I think is the best in the game.
You reckon?
And I still would not be able to last hit with the guy.
Ari has the best auto attack animation, I believe.
Starts
it's so
with 47 AD as well, so it's hard to last hit as Ari.
But if you take ADR, you know what I mean? If you take ADR, if you start laying with a Doran's Blade or something, that was the old thing back in the day before we had Practice Tool and all the fancy things you kids have nowadays. We just had to load up a custom game on our own with no bots and just run mid with Ari and last hit. Everyone used Ari for that reason.
Yeah, when I did that, I used to do Aurelia, no runes and no items. That was my
Aurelia.
Yeah.
But melee start with high base AD,
but you can cancel it. So it was all about getting in a really good auto attack. Because Aurelia's one, you can get halfway through, it will still register damage, and then you can pull out of the auto attack. And for some reason, back in Season 1, I just thought that was so cool. As we're investigating a possible bug, I assume it was on Only's side of things, as he was the one that was very vocal and no one else was really talking.
Well, you're not allowed to talk if it's not your problem, so had to be him.
So talk to me. You've been in this situation before. You've actually been involved in some of the...
I got chrono broke.
Yeah, you've been involved in some of the longest pauses in big games.
Yep.
What are you doing right now? Are you trying to bring yourself back down? Are you sitting there cursing yourself for dying, even though it could be a bug's fault? Are you cursing the referee?
Dying was not... He didn't die because of the bug. If he could flash...
They would have flashed after him.
They would have flashed after him.
Yeah.
And, okay, maybe it's not a free kill in the sense that no one burned anything, but it would have just been flash for flash. He still would have died. So, I mean, he shouldn't be upset about dying. I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah.
They got outplayed level 1. They knew it was coming. They had Braum and Sedge. They just killed you. If you flashed, they would have flashed after you. Maybe more people would have died.
Yep.
I don't know.
Maybe you bait your whole team in.
Exactly.
Maybe they get over the wall and try and help you.
Because that Braum and the Sedge passive, as soon as they start hitting other people, everyone needs to flash. So, I don't know. I wouldn't be stewing. Sometimes you do. Depends what it is. Depends what the bug is, of course.
Potentially if your Maokai gets stuck in Twisted Advance animation for about 15 years.
Yeah. And it's game 3 in 5-game gauntlet series. But
for a random example that I'm going to throw
out there.
Just plucking
one out. But no, the big thing is trying not to get caught up in it. But most importantly, trying to take stock of where the game is at. Yeah. It's very easy to come back, especially after a long pause, to come back after a 10-minute break and be like, wait, what was I doing? Or like, oh, what was
What
like,
is the next objective?
What was my plan? Like,
Yeah.
what was my next camp? What was I going to buy again? And it's about trying to maintain an active mind so that you know as soon as it's unpaused that it's like, this is what I was going to do.
Because League of Legends is so much a game of feel. I feel like people underrate that. Like, you get hit by a Jhin, and you're like, that felt like it hurt a lot. I'm going to go get a Randuin's.
Yeah.
Or you run out of base and a Cassiopeia hits you twice, and you're like, wow, she does heaps of damage. Like, you don't ever really hit tab and be like, because this item has been picked up, I will build this item. I feel like lots of players do it from feel.
Yep.
And I feel the longer you aren't playing the game, this is why you were saying about playing the same champion a couple of times in a row. If I play a certain few champions and I pop off, I actually can't play them the next game because I feel like I'm doing so little damage in the game
Comparatively.
comparative to where I ended the game, like at the end of it. So I get real confused in my own head because I'll take like a 1v1 and I'll be like, how did he not die? And I'll be like,
well,
oh,
Tab,
I
wasn't 10-0.
I have a hunter's machete and no Duskblade at this stage of the game. So I feel like, League of Legends, the feel, the flow that you get into as a pro player, the fact that you're nice and warm and your hands are moving and your mouth is moving. Sometimes it takes reiterating those, like, okay, next objective is Dragon. I'm pathing towards bottom side. Like, sometimes it takes you a little bit to, like, warm back up into a game. Which is underrated.
No, I absolutely agree. I'm a bit the opposite. I love playing the same champions over and over and over again. I just feel like that rhythm that you're talking about, for me, is just much easier to get into when I'm not thinking about the champion I'm playing.
You're also much better at the game than me, so I feel like people should probably take your advice and not mine.
But I feel like everyone's different. You know, some people excel doing different things all the time. It keeps their mind active. But for me, I like, as soon as I get in that rhythm of I'm not thinking about what my champion is doing, I'm not actively thinking about, like, okay, when I'm playing Lee Sin, I need to ward hop and then I'm going to E-flash and then I'm going to follow up with my Q and hopefully I hit it. But it's just sort of natural. It's just like, oh, I can gank this lane and then my hands just do it.
That's why I always tell people to play, like, Garen if they start the game. Because what you want to learn is you want to learn what your champion does. So you can just focus on the other 137 champions in the game that all have 4 to 8 abilities and do strange and wonderful things. As opposed to picking a new champion every game and then being like, hang on a second, let me read my E. What does this thing do? I'm playing Morgana. Why is my R button not usable all the time? Oh, I have to be in range of enemies. What's the range? Like, the game becomes so complex when you change the variables as opposed to just playing a linear champion when you're learning it.
And you learn so much more about the game as opposed to just the champion. If you just know Garen, I'm just going to use LS as Annie. You know, if you just play a champion like that every game, and you just know the champion because it's simple. You learn a lot more about like wave management and gank timing and all those things that we take for granted. Like, of course he's going to gank at that time. Like, everyone knows that, you know, camp buff is 2 minutes 40. But, you know, new players don't know that. So it's a really good way to learn.
Yeah, so like if we were going to go through it, just because we do have some free time and the game really didn't progress, so we can't really talk about that. We are just still investigating the pause. Like maybe a Garen or a Malphite top lane, Warwick or Udyr in jungle are kind of the two like basic junglers. Nunu, another good, very good pick. Don't play Ivan because he's got so much nuance in his kit.
Ivan's not a beginner champ.
Not a beginner champ. Annie, who else do you like in the mid lane? If you get, for example, if you get filled into mid lane, what are you playing at the moment?
Right now, Riven.
Oh, okay.
I played Riven mid. I solo killed my lane and then I lost the game because that's how Riven works. TF was always a big one for me. TF is, I mean, you do need to know a little bit about roaming and stuff, but the way he does damage is very simple.
Also, it's one of those skills that if you become good at TF, you will realize how big the map is and how much influence you can have with a mid laner. So then when you go to champions like Talia or like Ryze, even Cassiopeia in the latter stages, you'll be able to figure that out. I like Varus at the moment for an 80 carry. I think that he has really nice trading patterns. I think that if you try and play an 80 carry, maybe Sivir is another one that I like for beginners as well.
Ashe is my big one. It's just really obvious what you meant to do. You know, volley is so visual. So it's like, oh, volley, that's what this does. Arrow, oh, it's a gigantic arrow. I mean, okay, the Q can be a bit complex, and it's like, okay, what am I supposed to use this E for? But I think,
All right.
Ashe traditionally, maybe the old Ashe, not the new one.
This is an interesting one. Chrono breaking to 1 minute and 12 seconds. Only was attempting to level an ability, and it was opening his shop instead.
Right.
As such, we are chrono breaking to 1 minute and 12 seconds. So the reason I feel like we're chrono breaking in this instance, and League Ops will get in my ear and be like, stop talking, or yeah, you're a genius, is Q's check brushes. So if he's running forward trying to check brushes, that is going to change his decision-making process. Okay. And instead, he's just opening a shop. We have a tool right now, it's called Shadow Play, that actually shows us what is happening on his screen. So it's not like he can be like jamming P at the same time.
Yeah.
So this is a genuine bug that we are remaking for.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I agree that it's a possibility. I suspect because it happened that despite not checking the bush, he would have walked in anyway.
Yep.
Because he could have just been like, oh, can't level up my Q, probably won't walk in here. Like, that could have, you know what I mean?
That is also a possibility.
So I'm not sure I entirely agree with you. But I'm pretty sure the rule is that it's more around if it's game breaking or game influencing, particularly around combat scenarios or combat situations, that the option to chrono break is there regardless of whether or not you would have made that mistake if that bug didn't happen. So a bit lucky, I think, on the side of AV, but fresh start. So let's get into it.
Yeah, no harm, no foul. Sin, lose 600 gold. And they're going to go for a bit of a cheeky invade right now. Avant, try and take away Juves' camp. However, he just smites that one. So potentially invade can happen topside from only, maybe?
Could be, but I don't think so. Big thing with Sejuani, and a lot of people say this because they think that she's baiting for a better leash. And a lot of times she is baiting for a better leash. But holding on to the permafrost proc is important for that reason also. If he had not burned it at the start, if he had left that permafrost proc up until the 400, 500 HP mark, he could have just one-shot it, could have saved his smite. Instead, has to smite the blue buff. Not the end of the world, to be honest, smiting blue. If you don't get punished for it, like, it's not that bad, but you can see that he burns the ward at his red buff because he's afraid only might invade and he doesn't have smite up. But only just take a page out of Spooks' book and look for that full clear. Yeah,
going to power farm, and this time he's not going to be punished for it because Juves did start on the bottom side of the map with his duo lane leash. When you have a Braum, it is just so tempting to start on the Braum side of the map. There's a couple of champions that if they can leash, you just want them to leash. Braum is one of them.
And it's like, despite them knowing, because the big thing in jungling is like, I don't want them to know where I start. But yeah, there are a few champs. Braum's a big one. Janna's another one where it's like, this leash is going to be so good that it doesn't matter that they know.
Actually, Janna probably is the best leash in the game.
Karma is a very good one as well, depending on how generous she's feeling.
If she's using her R button on your leash, I feel like she loses bottom lane for doing that. As we actually have potentially a gank coming into the mid lane. Frey doing the right thing. He hovers his strong side of the map, which is the jungle side his jungle is playing on. Juves is going to go a little bit deeper here.
And the opening here is exactly the same as game one from Only. Sin have the ward on the Grop this time because they're expecting it. But unfortunately for Juves, Only has full cleared and there's nothing for him to counter with. So Juves is just going to go 2 camps down here and then, I don't know, maybe look for his mid lane, maybe look for the golems and just accept the XP deficit.
Yeah, that's such a bizarre one. You see Juves wasted a lot of time getting a deep ward when he saw Only's CS. Probably could have done the quick mental math. Every camp gives you 4 CS. He's done a full clear. Probably hasn't touched his double golem due to pathing. He's taken a Rift Scuttler. So checking that is a little bit useless, I guess, at this stage of the game, potentially.
Agree. And this is just a knowledge thing. In League, knowledge is power. It's very easy to look at the micro and someone outplays someone else and you're like, whoa. But ultimately, the more you know about this game, the better you're going to be at it. And if Juves had guessed what Only's path was correctly.
Hold that thought as he actually gets the flash. That's again that Frey has been playing up very aggressive in mid lane and gets punished for it.
Well, it's because he's pummeling him.
Yeah, well, he is.
He's putting the screws into Bedoink at the moment, and despite having fleet footwork, Bedoink is losing lane again. So Juves coming to lend him a hand.
Juves is an experienced snaker.
Bedoink loves that reverse laser.
It's strange.
It is weird. You get less range overall for it.
Here's a fun fact. Did you ever play Rumble Jungle?
Yep.
Are you a smart cast ultier or a normal cast ultier?
I could do both.
Okay.
Because I'm a pure smart caster. I learned very early on that smart casting was like better.
Very nice stun there out of the brush. Only's going to be here as well. The flash out of Dream gives the hop across. That's going to be Ignite burnt from Jake.
Yep. Good gank, to be honest. Bard Q catches them both, so Well played by Jake, enabling that gank.
But once again, that was Dream leading. If Kuden is up ahead of him, puts up the door maybe a little bit preemptively because he smells something there, would be able to stop that stun. That's one of the reasons Bard actually is not seen all that much into Braum.
Yep.
Mitigates so much of the damage. And this lane is frozen here, and Dream is not getting access to anything.
Well, I mean, he does have his pot. He's just choosing not to use it, waiting for that Doran's shield sustain to kick in. Blinkier's mana is running low, so I feel like he can access this wave, but he's just afraid of the Olaf. They've got no vision in the bot side river, and he has no flash.
Back. So here we go. Gets tagged up this time. That axe somehow went through the door?
That's weird.
I feel like that should stop.
Chrono break?
Potentially. However, we see now only spotted out in the jungle, in the river by Juves. Juves will just dash over. Only won't even go back for his axes. That's a waste of time. You can have your grunt main. I'm going back to my full topside jungle.
Yep. Only one level up means that Juve doesn't want to take the fight.
Oh, ulti burnt from Bedoink already. No flash available from Frey. He's going to take 2 ticks of that. Probably force him back for a shot before his time.
Well, he does have the pot still, and he has 1 ticking right now. So he does have the potential to stay in lane if he wants, which he looks like he's going to do. Sejuani unlikely to dive in pre-6, so Frey opting into staying, which is probably the right call.
And Juve's going blue smite on Sedge. We already said that the damage mitigation, especially in a matchup where Olaf can run at you and start putting in damage. I think this is a strange itemization choice from Juves here.
Yeah, I don't like blue smite at all on any champ other than maybe Skarner, maybe Olaf. But I think red is just so good. The damage reduction is just so valuable that I can't imagine not taking it.
Yep.
Except on these champions where like move speed is so important early.
But even those champions, they still auto attack a lot. Junglers
Pabu just coned on the spot.
Junglers use auto attacks for so much of that, like the last 10% of damage in their games. Even champions like Elise and things like that, you wouldn't necessarily think as auto attackers, a big auto attackers into ganks. Nidalee is the biggest one for me. The difference between a good Nidalee player and a bad Nidalee player is the amount of human form auto attacks she puts into you before she throws a spear.
Agree. Very nice play there out of Juves, despite being on wards, and I have no idea whether he knew he was on wards or not. Using Bedoink's priority, we spoke about this last game, about how good he is at using teammates that win lane, to just body block Azir from taking the blue, and he forces it only to take it, who I'm sure was more than glad. Olaf is extremely good with the blue buff, but he's going to hand over the blue buff to Victor, and this is going to make this lane a lot easier for Bedoink.
Yeah, it certainly is. So again, Juves just with a little 1%er there will be able to get Bedoink slightly ahead. Also gives very valuable experience at this stage of the game, which is something that is often overlooked. No longer split, so you're going to see Pabu use his ultimate. That's a choo-choo train to get back into the top lane.
Sion, I love the Sion rework. Great rework.
Best rework so far, I think.
Yep. I think I agree. I was going to say, I think Warwick's was quite good, like thematically, and he still feels sort of the same, but he's a bit more exciting than he was. But no, I think Sion's definitely... Oh, great Q.
Yeah, very nice Q. However, Kuden jumps in front. We'll be able to block out some of that damage. I was going to say, the thing about Warwick that excited me was they kind of made him like Yi, where they gave him a very simple kit, but there is some nuance in it that good Warwick players will do things that bad Warwick players do not do. So there's at least still some depth to the champion. As opposed to a champion like, say, Katarina, that just headbutts her keyboard and kills you or doesn't kill you.
I think there's room in the game for simple champions. I don't think every champ has to have 8 abilities with a 3-hit passive and a, I don't know, whatever else. But I think there is room for simple champions because ultimately there are new players out there. People are still learning the game, and I think it's important for those people for the game to be accessible to them also. So I think, the Warwick rework was quite good. I love the cinematic. I love the feeling that they gave him. The feeling of hunting your prey. I mean, it really does feel like that when you're playing. I love champions who thematically, like...
Makes sense.
It makes sense with their kit. Like, Nocturne is another great one. Love Nocturne as a champ.
Actually, he's a jungler that I would recommend to new junglers as well, because you can be slightly out of position with Nocturne. Doesn't clear the healthiest, however.
He dies very easily as well, though. He doesn't... Like, once you're in, that's it. But yeah, so... Yeah, I like Nocturne, and I feel like Sion rework was a great work by Riot. So good job, team.
Yeah, there's
If
been
they're listening.
some... I don't get me wrong, I haven't liked every rework that the Riot team has thrown out, but I feel
No.
like they've got a couple of them correct.
Yeah, agree.
As we check in with the CS scores right now, there's about 1,000 gold lead right now, just off CS numbers. You can see about 14. So 3 camp lead right now for Only, as well as, oh, actually, a little bit of tango in the top lane. Praedyth is going to take Pabu once again down to about a quarter health, it looks like.
Yep.
Very nicely done. Will only take a little bit of harass in response. So he's up by 13 CS, but everywhere else... Actually, let's forget CS. There's going to be a fight down the bottom lane. First blood picked up for Juice, and in goes Olaf. He is unstoppable, however, he is very squishy. Pabu now just lives on the back end of that. You can see Praedyth has also TP'd in. Juice is putting in the work. Pabu will fall down, gets knocked up. Very nice flash from Only over that wall. Do they give the kill over to Bedoink? I think they should. Bedoink looking to be able to clean this one up. Misses the laser. Will flash forward to re-tag. Only thought that one was going to expire. Can Only actually escape?
15 seconds.
He's going to take 1 or 2 turret shots here. It's going to be 1, 2, or he's...
living.
He lives!
And that's an execute. Wow, well played by the jungler.
Actually gets a flash out of it as well.
Yep. Yeah, extremely well played by Only. We spoke about it. He's a guy who doesn't die, and even there, he
not a death.
He got caught out completely. Team fight lost. Still doesn't die.
And that makes the team fight actually 1-for-1, which in the situation it was looked horrible. Bedoink, however, going to fall down mid lane, so make that a 2-for-1 trade. And Avant really looking impressive this game.
Yeah, in the end, a big win for AV from what looked like a one-team fight for Sin. Bedoink isn't able to impact the team fight. I think he had used his ult on Frey in the middle lane, and so wasn't able to have a huge impact, wasn't able to chase Only down, only having the tier 1 boots. Bedoink doesn't have any boots, so just managed to walk that one off, and AV find themselves in a pretty good position.
I actually lied, by the way. Executes don't count on the scoreboard anymore. Up the top, you can see that Sion fell down somewhere in the bottom lane. So it was a 2-for-2 in the end. The Execute not giving over anything. And you can see Pabu now able to push up that lane. He's got himself a Frozen Heart, going to start weathering the storm of the Mini-Nart a little bit more successfully.
Yeah, Cleaver finished as well, though, so they're both spiking at the same time.
Yep.
I'm not sure which is more effective.
I'd say in short trades, probably the Frozen Heart. In long trades, Cleaver probably going to come out on top.
Yep, that's probably right. So just both top laners spiking at the same time, despite Nah having a 20 CS lead because Sion has that kill. But yeah, a lot of this gold sitting in Olaf CS and in the bot lane.
However, Juves, with those 2 kills, will go up about 400 gold. That is an ultimate burnt and Blinky just with the quick fingers. Not going to catch that one.
Yep.
Heard you saying he had safe
first
hands.
Games. He does have safe hands, but improvement on the first game there. He got caught in the first game despite having flash, and this time manages to escape with the E, so well played by Blinky. He has the Iceborne Gauntlet finished, so not opting into the Triforce. He wants to be a bit tankier this game. He's not really going to receive any peel from the Bard. Bard is going to be looking for offensive ultimates mostly.
Yep.
So wants that self-peel option, which is fair enough.
Yeah, Sion, Olaf, all going forward.
Yep.
You feel like he and Frey are going to probably be left to fend for themselves.
Yep.
Also, it's just cheaper. So it gets you to the 3 item spike at a really nice timing, especially against someone like Varus, who we've talked about how fluid his build is.
Yeah.
I feel like it's important to match that fluidity, and Trinity Force, honestly, is bad until the components are completed.
Yep, I agree.
As Ultimate will go high wide, not very handsome. Frey will just taunt Juice by walking back into that slow field and laughing a little bit.
Yep, no cleanse in the middle lane, and Juice was standing on a ward. So a tough ask there. Could perhaps have committed with a flash blue smite into ult or something, but really, I mean, if Frey played with a little bit more respect, there was no way he was ever going to get in range. Frey just went in
yeah, he certainly did, and he flashes over, going to be able to pick up the kill. Juice follows. Maybe should have left that one for Praedyth, to be honest, who was roaming down already. Praedyth wastes a lot of time and gets nothing in response.
And he burns his flash to get the kill, so probably could have left that one, but a 1-for-1 trade in the mid lane means that Sin still have their nose in this game.
Yep.
Frey has looked pretty good so far this game on the Azir, but not able to survive the
4, maybe they'll ban this one away. As we see Dream take a boatload of damage down in that bottom lane.
Yeah, well, the thing with Varus is his early build path is fantastic because he can just get the daggers, turn that into a recurve bow. Then it's, well, I could get boots or I can get the pickaxe, all relatively cheap items.
Yep.
But it's bridging the gap from the components to the Guinsoo's Rage Blade that is the difficult part for Varus. He wants to base, he probably has the money for it or he's close. He wants to base so bad, but at this point of the game, basing really means pretty much losing your tower or at least most of the health. So it becomes very difficult. I like I love Wits End first for that reason.
Yep.
Because you can buy it so much quicker, as Only's going to get caught on these wolves.
Juves actually uses the flail already, however. Only will smite away the big wolf, and so wins that battle. Juve standing on a ward again, potentially looking to path towards bottom lane. Maybe he just looks to shove this wave out, relieve some pressure. Very nice little sneaky gank here from Jake. Can potentially put Only through the wall, or they can just be patient. Juves is pinging them out. He knows they're there.
He knows.
That is the IQ.
Yep, he's a smart boy. Knows exactly where they are. You can see how defensive the Sin Pinks are. They know that they slowly need to get river control back, but they can't do that until those Pinks get moved forwards.
Yep.
Dream finally gets the opportunity to base because Jake tried to roam.
Oh, he's on a ward, however. If you're not basing on a pink or a turret, you're in trouble. Gets ignited straight away. Kuden will go forward, get that door up in time, but Dream, damage done. That's a lot of his health, and this turret might not be long for this world.
Yep, with no pots, that means that he's probably going to have to go home, and this tower might fall. Sedge is on the bot side, so Juves and Braum might just try and burn some ults to hold the tower, but they're opting to stay with 3.
Juves just throws a ward over the wall, so they know he's probably there. You can see that they're just looking to defend, and Dream is just catching skill shots left, right, and center.
And the problem with this is okay, yes, they hold this wave, but AV know they need to base eventually, and they can keep them here on half health for as long as they want. So this tower is probably going to fall sooner rather than later. Sedge is wasting, well, it's not a waste of time because they are going to hold the tower, but you can see Only, he's on the Wraith camp. He doesn't care about this anymore. He's already left. He's going to go take the top camps.
Yeah.
Which is probably why Badoink is taking them at the moment because he knows Only's going to look as well.
Yeah, that was last week's news, holding that bottom turret.
Yeah.
Only didn't want it in the end anyway.
Yeah, he's not interested.
Meanwhile,
but that's the thing.
I was going to say, meanwhile, top lane, as much of a clinic as they're putting on this bottom lane, Praedyth is actually playing a very nice Gnar game right now. He is 40 CS up.
Yep.
And has put some serious work into the top lane turret, which means that they're forcing the Azir to roam over to catch a wave because they don't want to use Pabu's ulti or teleport this time around.
Yeah, they're expecting a fight to come soon because the dragon's up in 10 seconds. You can see Juves is getting deep vision or trying to. He doesn't have wards anymore because they removed Green Smite. Yeah, this dragon is spawning. I'm not sure what drag it is.
As Juves goes over the wall and
Cloud.
is potentially looking for Blinky as well.
Yep.
Putting a little bit of pressure on bottom lane. They could get themselves a Drake right now. I feel like really Only doesn't want to contest that one.
Dream deciding he doesn't want to clear those wards. That's job relegated to his peasant jungler.
You, sir, go clear out my vision for me.
Despite them giving money, it's not enough, mate. 75 gold? I couldn't care less about 75 gold. I want this fat wave.
Yeah,
you can worry with the crumbs.
Do you know what would be even the next worst thing than that? If Juves had to take them to 3 auto attacks and then Dream just walks back and just takes the last hit. That would be even worse.
That certainly feels bad.
Yeah, Juves is going to go pretty low from this Air Drake right now. Does a little bit of damage, however, he'll be okay as he heads back into his jungle.
Yep. So Rift Herald traded for Cloud Dragon. Probably a better trade for AV. Rift Herald, usually the mid-tower breaker.
Yep.
Victor without a mid-tower, not great.
The one thing Sorry, continue.
I was just going to say Victor's strength is his ability to hold the mid-tower for so long despite being behind. And as soon as that tower's down and he needs to start clearing waves from further down the lane, he really loses a lot of his utility.
Yeah. But at the same time, I feel like if they had gone for the Rift Herald play in response, then it would have been Dragon plus bottom turret broken.
Yeah,
so
potentially.
I think Juves was just there to relieve pressure and then took the nearest objective to fill some of that free time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wasn't suggesting that they use it immediately. I was just saying that generally, like eventually this Rift Herald will probably be used to break the mid tower.
Yep.
And once that's done, it's going to be a difficult spot for Victor to be in.
Jumps on to Babu again, just continuing to pummel him. You can see Praedyth wants the wave to, the Scion to stay in lane. This is going to be mid-turret broken for sure.
Yep, so they catch Victor basing, and mid-tower's going to fall here, which is going to be huge for AV because they now put their own turret up, and they're going to have mid-priority for the next minute or so, and looks like they might try to do something with this bot tower.
Yeah, exactly right. That shallow vision, however, force in now coming up very useful because they know the inside track is safe. You can see Juves cheating across there right now. However, Olaf was there first. Dream continually getting chunked out underneath this turret. However, they will hold at least for one more wave.
Yeah. Well, the huge thing for Sin now is that the Guinsoo's Rage Blade is finished, so in a team fight, this Varus is going to be extremely strong. The difference between Rage Blade and just having the components is so massive.
However, it is a bigger than Iceborne Gauntlet plus
Muramana? Probably not. Well, no, I want to say definitely not, because the Muramana is just so strong and there's so much utility.
Yeah.
But that being said, like he's going to put a lot of deeps into the diving members. So like they have solo member dive.
Yeah.
Because Sion has to TP in, which is 4.5 seconds. So that's 4.5 seconds that only Olaf is going to be in the front line, and he's going to be copying those Rage Blade autos. Going to do a lot of damage. He doesn't have any resists.
Yep.
He only has a little bit of armor, a little bit of magic resist. But it looks like they're going to sack this tower anyway because Juve's taking his red.
Yeah, they rotate 4 members in here. They completely lost control over bottom side of the map now. You see the vision, that river control that we've talked about all day, just looks so nice right now from AV. And they have slowed this game down. We said in the chaos, Sin looked like they could go toe-to-toe.
Yep.
However, this has not been a chaotic game. In fact, anything from it after that chrono break has been slow, methodical, and AV are just grinding it out.
Yeah, there's something to be said for a 10 or 15-minute pause for slowing the momentum of a team.
Yep.
Definitely would do something. I'm not sure if it's quantifiable, but has to have an impact. Juves, despite being 3-0, hasn't really been able to be very proactive in this game, and you've seen him move mid a few times, but
just hasn't got a lane to play around. You can see
No.
right now being chased out by Jake in the top side of the map. Australia lanes will come across as Dream and Kuden match.
Yep. The Oceanic lane swap. Bot lane goes top. I mean, they should be able to hold this tower forever, essentially, because their bot lane isn't weaker. I mean, Ezreal is a little bit ahead for sure, but not so far ahead that he will just be able to take the tower in a 2v2, 3v3 situation.
Only been slowed down, looking to continue this fight. However, Kuden is here, but Bedoink wants to complete his recall.
Yeah.
Probably got the makings of that Seraphs. There it is, completed. So perfect hex core plus Seraphs. You would feel like if there is a time that they can fight, it's going to be relatively soon. 2 items picked up for Nah. He's very strong. Guinsoo's plus attack speed means that Varus is in a decent spot right now, and the 2 items completed for Bedoink. However, no boots.
This is the problem, though. Victor can't leave his tier 2 tower. He's so squishy. He has no priority because he lost his mid tower so early. Azir can always roam top. So this top jungle is going to remain in AV's possession for as long as they want it, which is going to make this top lane tower so difficult to defend. Despite them being able to hold it 2v2, 3v3, the fact that Azir could cheat up at any moment makes it extremely spooky for the Sin lineup.
Kuden going to get ulted, and they're just going to use that to block the dive. And now Dream, you're by yourself. Throws out the ultimate, however. Will put a little bit of damage into only Flash. Gets 2 members back. Very nice. And now they've got a huge teamfight potential. Over the wall goes Bedoink, and is able to stun off Frey. What a play out of the mid laner of Sin, and they look to continue the chase. Juves now corralling Jay. Will be able to land a stun, go through the wall.
Baron?
Is this a Baron? That is the big question. No, it does not appear to be the case.
Okay, interesting. I mean, Juves does have that Warmogs. I thought that was maybe on the cards with Varus damage.
Juves wants to continue this one. We'll just pick it up with a smite. So, good little denial there.
Yep. Massive team fight there. I mean, I thought Dream was dead to rights. They had the 4-man collapse, but with no Olaf ult up means that he can't run through the Varus ult, and he just gets chunked out. Big flash Gnar from Praedyth. Means that Bedoink can follow up with some damage, and we see that Sedge Braum passive come into play, and they managed to turn a team fight. So nice little comeback from Sin. They're only 800 gold behind now.
And the no hesitation play from Bedoink was what impressed me. He immediately flashed that wall and just dumped all of his spells. Whether he was going to live or die, did not really care. As we take another look at this one.
Predator popped, Blinky ease over, but with no Ragnarok, he sort of just gets stuck here. Oh, very stiff to not get the stun onto Ezreal, but big flash from Bedoink. Frey gets picked up by the gravity field. He didn't see it because there's no ward in that brush.
Yep.
Battle warding, guys. That's the next level. Frey didn't know that the gravity field was up in that tri-bush, and he just gets sucked into it despite having flash and cleanse up.
As we see Sion ulting to run away. However, Praedyth is behind him. They've started Dragon. You can see very nice ultimate onto Bedoink. It means he will be knocked up for sure. Gets Shurima shuffled, however, is back on top of Sion. Very nicely done. Frey now flashes the wall. Sion ulti has a passive applied. Will flash forward and actually onto only. He will get slowed down. Does not have flash. and gets Nah ulted into a wall. Will get stunned up and will eventually fall. However, over the wall, you can see Frey is putting in work. Will pick himself up a double. Can he get the triple? No, does not look like he can continue that chase. Good team fight for Avant.
Frey comes up huge again. I mean, Frey on this is it. It's 3 games in a row, and he's just continuing to carry these team fights for AV. That looked pretty bad, but a really nice Shurima shuffle onto the flashless Victor meant that he died to the Scion passive. And Frey coming up huge once again. Yeah,
you can see that with that one team fight, because Praedyth went bottom lane, they actually get priority over mid and are able to get themselves a tier 2 turret afterwards. So not only do they get a winning trade, they get themselves a mid lane turret, now forcing Dream away from the top lane turret as well. This could be the 2-for-1 special and a 1-team fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Sin giving up the structures despite having a pretty close team fight. Juves really wanted that Olaf kill. You have to wonder whether or not it was worth chasing that deep for it. But, I mean, obviously they thought they could win the fight, so it's easy to say in retrospect, but they probably thought that they would have cleaned him up after killing the Olaf.
Yeah, and you think that as soon as Azir's burnt summoner spells, he's in a rough situation. However, Frey just stood and delivered on like 25% health. So it took some courage, for lack of a better word, but came up with the goods.
Yeah, well, he has those 3 items completed, and Azir's that build in particular with Azir, with the Banshee's Veil and the Void Staff, it's relatively cheap. It's not that expensive, and you have a pretty early spike, so he's definitely putting in work right now. Bedoink, yeah, looking for the Seraph's Embrace, still has the Archangel Staff. Not doing as much damage right now as the Azir with a slightly cheaper build. As we see Dragon start, and this might be a Baron.
Baron start could come in as well, because they've got so many members over here, and they do it quickly. This is going to be a wit's end as well as the Rage Blade picked up. However, you hear Scion blows the ultimate whistle and chases them away. Actually, did he even? He did blow the whistle.
Yeah, he definitely ulted.
But he just didn't go anywhere.
No, he just cancelled it. Yeah, because they saw that he got off. They got off the Baron, and he thought, well, they're not on Baron. There's no need for me to be up here, so I'll just do this Dragon with Ezreal. Praedyth didn't have TP, and Pabu was going to sprint up, so probably a good call to get off it there. But they force some ults at least, and if it's a team fight in the next 2 minutes, they'll have an advantage.
They also trade a gold objective for a Drake kind of neutral objective, which when you're behind is actually a good thing
gold
to
for
do.
Buffs.
And they've already got a Mountain Drake of their own, so it's not like they're giving over the deadly combination of a couple of mountains with an Azir composition.
I absolutely agree. So I think pretty good move there out of Sin, and they're going to come back onto the map with a fresh buy here, whereas AV just did the Dragon, so they haven't bought in a little while. They probably need to go home soon. Yeah, Baron control for AV, and Sin are going to need to slowly wrestle this back.
Yeah, we see right now that they base Kuden and Bedoink at the same time. You always have that moment of nerve-wracking experience because they have started it up. It's a 2-man, but a very cheeky ward. That's a Gam ward. They were the ones that came up with this. You see Scion does get ultied. However, good ulti onto Kuden, and Dream Door went up in time, and Pabu cancelled his ulti, which would have nailed Dream. You can see good gravity field just for the zoning potential. Those Jubes goes very low, gets the heal, somehow gets out. Jake and Kuden, the supportal combat was going off tap, and I think Kuden actually won it.
Praedyth didn't have TP, but he's walking his way up now. Jubes has got the Warmogs, and this re-engage could be extremely advantageous for Sin.
Yeah, it certainly could be. Praedyth sitting at 50% Narbar. Blinky does not get through the portal. You see Praedyth kind of looking for him right now. Kuden is very low, and they're clearing out wards. Very nice stun there. Kill actually picked up, but Blinky went forward. Can they get anything done here? Praedyth about to go Mega, actually hops away, and they're trying to disengage this one. However, they're not doing it as a coordinated unit. Bedoink has to flash over the wall. Juves is stuck by himself on the left-hand side of the team fight, and that could just be Baron.
That was an extremely close flash by Bedoink. He almost failed it. I think that was almost the max range that you can flash that wall without failing.
Yeah,
so nice little micro exhibit.
Juve still wants it. You can see goes very low, actually gets picked up. Praedyth went in as well. Continual hop forward out of Blinky. Actually gets stunned up. Will not do anything. Lands a very nice ultimate to get across Dream. And even with a 2,000 gold lead, AV are just going to take this Baron buff.
Yep, bit of a botched engage out of the Sin lineup. They used all their abilities trying to disengage a 4v5 when Praedyth didn't have TP. Then Praedyth was there, they had nothing to answer with. Kuden was already so low. It was just a very difficult spot that they put themselves in, and now AV have got that Baron, and we'll have to see what they can do with it.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be promising. It looked like maybe Praedyth, after Blinky E forward, would just be able to gnar him into that wall. But as soon as Kuden went down, they called for the disengage. Which, you know, Sin always do everything as a unit. So
they do.
It was the call that they followed, and right now it's going to be a 4,000 gold lead for Avant. You just feel like the stage that the game is at, the items they have, they look the stronger team fighting team.
Yeah, the problem is when you have a Nah or any 1-3-1, if you're relying on split push whatsoever and you're playing against a tank, as soon as the enemy team gets Baron and your split pusher no longer has pressure and he has to come group as a mini Nah, you just make the game so difficult for yourself. Yes, it's only 4k gold. Yes, they're not actually that far behind, but Praedyth, despite being level 17, is not really going to have much of an impact in these Baron sieges. And it's going to be difficult for Sin to find their way back in.
Unless he gets a very good flank in Mega. So wait for him to not be exhausted. Potentially Kuda needs to go on a little bit of a cheeky mission and get a deep ward.
Maybe, but you can see it. How is he going to build the Mega? I mean, he has to run all the way to top lane to hit something. He's just standing here throwing boomerangs. Gets the ultra long range one by not picking it up. It
throws it backwards. That's
the Banshee Veil of Frey.
Now not going to have it available. Is building it now. That's very nicely done.
Yep.
We'll be able to just transform off that if he gets one more auto attack in.
No flank wards, but AV are just opting to lead. They want to make sure they get all the standing gold before committing to a game-ending dive. They know that they're probably not that far ahead.
Yep.
So wise move by the boys in blue.
You can see Praedyth has gone for a red buff. He knows that it's going to be under fire. Has just transformed to Mega. Potentially going to look to continue to ride that top wave in right now is Avant. You can see that they've corralled Sin back underneath their turret. And with Praedyth just going back to exhausted, there is no way they can fight this, let alone with the fact that Bedoink is mid lane and Dream is bottom.
Yeah, exactly right. They're rotating the wrong people to the towers. They're trying to funnel farm onto their carries, which is fair enough, but there's no way you're going to hold a tower if your 80 carry is on the other side of the map.
Yeah, so we'll see whether they can hold this one. Big creep wave coming in. Praedyth no longer exhausted, starting to burn through that mini Nah form. He's about 50%. This is the wave to go on. There's 2 cannon creeps. If they do not go, this base will be broken. Praedyth can't go for it. Juice goes in, however. Big engage. Able to absolutely blow up Frey as well as Jake. And now they'll continue the fight. You see Unstoppable being used in the wrong way right now over Olaf. Good act as well as flash to disengage. But Sin do get the team fight win.
Yep. And that's the... What I want to talk about is AV strategy a little bit. And that is... What I mentioned was that they're looking for all the standing gold before they try and break the base, which is a fine strategy. But the problem with gold is that it doesn't do anything if it's just sitting in your wallet.
Yep.
You need to spend it. And they took 3 or maybe 2 outer towers. They took a bunch of jungle, a bunch of waves. I'm sure they all have standing gold. They've just spent most of it. So unfortunately, I couldn't see how much they had. Yep. But you can see Azir, it was on about 2k. Gold means nothing if you don't spend it. They decided that they were going to just focus the outer towers and the jungle camps before they tried to end the game. But then they got a little bit overzealous, tried to end the game anyway. Juice finds a fantastic engage. Frey tries to save his team yet again by looking for a scoop. He EQs in, but unfortunately just gets wombo comboed, and that was it.
And I feel like AV kind of did what I did. And they just tunneled on the Nah super hard. Yeah. And then Juice was like, hey, I'm a Sejuani, surprise. Okay. And was able to pick up the team fight victory. You see Infernal right now going very low very quickly. Will be picked up by Juice. They go for the fight, however. Very nice Bard ultimate. But that will just buy time for the TP to be channeled and completed. Praedyth joins, however, as Mini. He is so squishy and will absolutely get destroyed. Now Jake looking for the ultimate. Not the ultimate, the magical journey. Only will take it and will get absolutely popped. Whoa. Jake, however, on the flank gets a very nice 2-man stun from the Bard, and continuing here over the wall. Bedoink pops him. And that's going to be a 1-for-1.
That was a huge team fight out of Jake. I thought he played that exceptionally well, but just gets killed at the end. Yeah, TPing in with a mini, that's not something you ever want to see. He was Mega in the top lane, and I was actually watching him while they started Dragon, because I was like, he's already Mega, he doesn't really want to TP in, but they get the Fire Drake, and they sort of think, well, okay, we have Fire Dragon now, they've burned their engage, it hasn't done any damage to us, maybe we can turn this, but Mini Nah, he's got a Frozen Mallet, he's got a Black Cleaver, he's just not that tanky.
Yeah, there was a build that people were playing on Bard in the preseason with Glacial Augment.
Yep.
It was called Super Soaker Bard.
Yep.
Let's use that title for it. Jake has gone for a slight adaptation on this build. He's grabbed himself some Twin Shadows, which gives you movement speed, and some Spooky Ghosts, as well as the fact that he's got himself the makings of what looks to be a Proto Belt. I'm going to question the build.
I'm going to say it's not the Proto Belt. I'm pretty sure that builds into GLP, right?
Are you going to go GLP at this stage of the game?
I'm pretty sure. Well, That is the build, by
Yep.
the way. That is, people are doing that in solo queue now. They're going Spooky Ghosts into GLP.
Really?
Yep. I don't think it's good. I don't think GLP is good, I should say. Spooky Ghosts, okay.
I think it's fine.
I can see a spot for Spooky Ghosts on Bard. I know you go AP nowadays to get the slap damage. The Spooky you are a fast champ, and it does set up your Q against a wall by slowing someone. But yeah, he's spent a lot of gold on combat.
Yeah, that's what I was going to point out.
He's got QSS, he's got Hextech Revolver, whereas you look at the other side, Kuden, he's got the Banner of Command, he's got the Knight's Vow. If they ever manage to pick up a Baron, they're going to be significantly more effective with it than AVR.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I just think he needs something that he doesn't get one shot. And unfortunately, whilst Twin Shadows is a very fun item, doesn't give you any defensive stats.
Yep.
It's a good item on TF, actually, at the moment. Because you can throw it out, see where the jungler is before you run into bottom river. Vision is something that's very underrated.
Yeah, Frey just burnt his flash trying to do some damage to Dream. Dream's also burnt flash, but taken no damage. So looks like he might have tried to shuffle him, and Dream just a little bit quick.
Yeah, and I would say that right now, Frey's flash probably more valuable because he has been putting in a lot of work in these team fights. And
I mean,
Dream probably going to go turret mode if he
Dream's
can
got no mobility now.
Yep.
Whereas Frey still has a tiny bit. So I don't know if it's worth. Frey definitely is carrying these team fights, though. If Frey dies, that team fight is over. I don't see Ezreal carrying. Whereas if Varus dies, I can still see Sin winning a team fight.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Especially with the mini Gnar at the moment. He's pretty tanky now if he goes Mega. Still has some okay damage. You can see they're fighting over mid lane control.
The wave is pushed in.
Oh, that's going to be the ulti. It hits onto Pabu. Very nice ulti in response. However, Juice goes so low. And the Bard ulti into the two carries being stunned up. And Dream is just sitting there firing in the backline, but cannot do enough damage. Praedyth will go down as well. And that is only Juves alive. And that should be Avant much in this one up mid lane and taking the 2-1.
Yep, huge team fight out of Jake again. Hits the carries with the ult, hits him with a double stun on the two priority targets. There is absolutely no way that Sin can win a team fight if that happens. Have to think that maybe Bedoink should have been a bit quicker on the flash, or I don't know. Just extremely well played by AV. A deserved win.
Yeah, exactly right. There was absolutely nothing they could do. Superior execution on the day is the name of the game. It took them a while. It took them all 3 games. It took them 37 minutes in the final one. But there is nothing Juves can do as he watches Nexus destroyed and Avant pick up a 2-1 victory.
Yep, great. Well, a
Fun
good
series.
Win. A good win for AV. They needed to win. Bit of a scare in game 2. But they get the points, and that's important. They stay 1 point ahead of Legacy, and they'll be looking to next week to make sure they secure the highest seeding for their first Gauntlet match.
Yeah, absolutely. See the love heart there from Only towards the camera.
He's in love. Is there a chrono break finger signal?
I don't know. He loves the fact that he didn't give up first.
I was going to say, you're loving that chrono break, tell you what.
Yeah, however, you have to say that the ability to mentally reset is something that you applaud in teams when you see it. And they were able to absorb that pause. They played a much more well thought out and calculated game number 3 until the last couple of team fights, which got a little bit sloppy. But that's what you want to see out of Avant if you're a fan.
Yeah, you got to think, wonder whether or not that slowed, on the other side, whether that slowed, I want to say Juves, but Sin and Juves, of course, their momentum, because they looked great towards the end of game 2. And then obviously they started First Blood in game 3, so
and
they would have been
feeling pointing to their head.
They would have been in a good mood. They would have been feeling confident. They would have been feeling really great about the last game. And then all of a sudden you need to sit. You're not allowed to talk. You got to sit still for 10, 15 minutes, however long that pause was. And what we saw was a very conservative first 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you there. And then at the same time, you have to take a look at the impact that the carries were able to have. I think that Frey, time and time again, showed that he was just the classier mid laner on the day and was able to take over these team fights and pump out so much damage. And Bedoink had moments of brilliance, but couldn't string it together for the full, 37 minutes of that game.
Yeah, I mean, Frey, I think you definitely need to give him props. I think he was absolutely the MVP for AV today. Played 3 games of Azir, played 3 very good games of Azir. He stole a Baron, scooped him I don't know how many times. Just a great series from him all around.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think that the player from Sin that I was intrigued into their set was Praedyth, because he had 3 very good laning phases, which is an area that Praedyth has been inconsistent with in the past.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really spoken about Praedyth at all today, but in retrospect, I'm sure if you go through those VODs, I think he's played 3 very serviceable games. And yeah, like you said, it's nearing the end of Split 1, and to be honest, whether you're contracted or not contracted, orgs are always looking
Yep.
to improve their team, and I think Pradeth has made a pretty good case for himself today, and he's obviously got one more game next week to retain the spot on that roster, and yeah, I think pretty well.
Absolutely did a
pretty
good
well
job today. However, in the end, it was going to be Avant Gaming picking up the 2-1. To hear from one of their players now, let's throw it over to Laura and Sharp.
Thank you very much, guys. Sharp and I, joined by Frey, the mid laner from Avant. Congratulations on the win, first of all. Carbon was saying you were his MVP of the match, so
Really?
there you go. What did you think of your performance and also the team's performance today?
Well, actually, I was pretty disappointed with my performance. So kind of surprised at that. I think a lot at the end of the day, a lot of it just came down to mechanical misplays from myself personally. I can't really speak on my teammates because until I watch over the game, but yeah, like it was really, really tense series.
So for me, the question I had was like, you managed to get Azir a lot of those games, and Sin opted into the Victor, both game 1 and 3. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on why Victor would be a pick that they would be opting into, and how do you feel about the Azir versus Victor matchup?
Yeah. I think the reason they let Azir through is because, well, previously I've shown that, well, the top picks right now, like Ryze, Azir, like I've shown, I play a lot of Ryze, and I think maybe teams don't think I can play Azir. Victor does, I think, fine into Azir because, outranges him and gets that poke down, but, we had the stronger jungler in most of the games, and getting lane priority with Azir, like, I feel like it's probably a mistaken draft. I obviously didn't execute as well as I wanted to, but they obviously had the Victor planned. I mean, they picked it into it every time, but yeah.
When we spoke to Jake, it was quite a few weeks ago now, towards the beginning of the split. He said that he thought Avant was in the top 3 teams in the ladder. Why do you think you guys have fallen a bit short this split?
I'm not sure. Like the top teams, I think, are really competitive right now. Like there's Direwolves, obviously, Chiefs, Order, and Legacy now obviously looking really good. Like for the first couple of weeks, Legacy didn't look. Obviously, we beat them twice. We definitely have sort of just hit this wall right now, and Legacy seem like they're clicking. So I wouldn't say we're top 3 right now. Maybe like we're definitely we're Gauntlet now, so top 5, I guess. But I can't really speak for why we're not doing that well, because obviously if we knew, we'd probably fix it already. I would say, though, we have noticed that in the mechanical aspect, like just micro aspects, we've fallen short a bit sometimes, which is something we don't really think about because we're more thinking about the broader macro sense of things. But yeah, going forward, just hopefully that stuff, nerves or anything like that just dies down a bit.
So for me, obviously, like we're versing you next week.
Yep.
For the final game. So I just wanted to hear, like, what are your thoughts, and given your performance today in the last few weeks, what do you think are some of the things that you guys need to focus on to be able to take some games off of us in the last week?
Yep. Well, obviously, like I said, the mechanical side of things, like that stuff, when you play against lower tier teams, you don't really, it doesn't really show through. So it's a lot easier to play macro when you're not getting punished mechanically. And that's obviously the hardest thing playing against a team like Direwolves, who you can just lose games off mechanics. And it's just like, that sucks because there's not much you can do to improve. So I imagine what we'll be trying to do is just tone it down a bit. Like, don't give you guys the chance to fight us in those mechanical 1v1s, play the map more. And obviously, at the end of the day, it's just numbers. So if we do play the map correctly, there's not that much room for mistakes and errors, which is what hopefully we can do, which is a lot. Obviously we're not there yet, not even close. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a really difficult match.
And
obviously.
Get pinched to outdrafting as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously we already have the draft advantage. So.
Are you guys just completely focusing on that match against the Direwolves next week, or are you also starting to prepare for the Gauntlet now that you're locked in with that match against Legacy?
Well, I mean, obviously, Direwolves are, you just rank 1 right now?
No, we're second at the moment.
Okay, second. Well, I mean, we still have to beat the Legacy first, who are looking really good. Obviously, they've shown through their games against Direwolves and who was it today? Order? They took down Order. So, we'd be focusing on that more so than the second place team right now. But yeah, at the end of the day, you sort of have to work on the same things. There's rarely like top teams that just have one playstyle or like a really different playstyle you have to focus in on to, specifically draft around that. So at the end of the day, you just improve as a team and see where that takes us.
The undefeated second team, actually.
Is it?
Just to put that out there. The undefeated second team. Yes.
Okay, so okay, you might like still number 1, don't worry.
Yes. Cop that, Chiefs.
Frey, you've been on quite a few teams now throughout your league journey, but I wanted to ask you if you felt like you had any pressure coming into Avant as their mid laner because you were filling in the shoes of Triple, who is now on the Direwolves.
I mean, I have a history of doing that. I came in to fill in the shoes of Luch as well when he got banned. Both like very good mid laners. I guess there is obviously a lot of pressure. Triple was, I think, one of the best mid laners after Fantix. So you know, I was hoping that I'll be able to perform. Like right now, it's not looking the best from my personal performance, at least with how I feel about where I'm at. But you know, at the end of the day, it's a team game sort of thing. Like there's I don't know, just improving my team is just like better, more fun than like mechanically improving myself. Obviously, that's like a big aspect, but I don't know. Like I can't really judge. It's really hard to judge mid laners. I feel like it's like everyone is at the skill level where it's just like I'm shoving the wave and farming, and so it's really just a macro decision that's really separating everyone, and it's hard to like quantify that.
Well, at the end of the day, it is a team game, as you said, and you did pick up a win today, so congratulations, and thank you so much for joining us. Also, a big thank you to Sharp for joining us once again on the couch. It's always lovely having your insights on the show. But to close out our day, we're going to hand it back over to Jake and Carbon.
Thank you so much. And Frey coming out as his own biggest critic there. I think he actually played a better series than he's given himself credit for.
You know, that was the exact line that I was going to use. Yeah, no, look, I really like players who are highly critical of themselves. And I think, yeah, I mean, someone with that opinion of themselves, despite maybe others lauding their performance, he knows that there's things he did wrong. He knows there's things he can improve on. And that's the kind of guy who's going to grow and going to continue to get better. So props to him.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think that also a thing that he pointed out there, the fact that some of the weaknesses they have didn't show against maybe bottom tier teams and are starting to show against the top tier teams. I think that there is certainly juxtaposition you can throw between that and order, because mechanical plays and, you know, smart decision making won't get you through every game as you're playing teams like Legacy, Direwolves, Chiefs in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I feel like that definitely applies more to order than AV. I mean, let's not forget they're playing against 7th place Sin today.
Yep.
So I'm not sure that really applies to their series today. I mean, they were playing against a bottom team and the micro was sort of letting them down. So I don't agree with Frey in that regard, but I do think that it applies to a team like Order, who had a very good run at the start of the split, playing against the lower teams and sort of just out-muscling them every game, and maybe dropping a couple games and struggling a bit more towards the end of the split where they're playing against the better teams who you can't just muscle out.
Yeah, potentially can stand up to them. However, that is the League of Legends today. As we bring up the results onto your screen, it was Legacy Esports taking a 2-1 victory over Order in what was an absolute bloodbath of the series. Well played to Legacy. Congratulations, Carbon. And then game number 2, it was Avant Gaming taking the victory over Sin. However, that was also hard fought. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time, it is going to be Tectonic taking on the Direwolves before the Chiefs Esports Club look to retain top spot by taking down the Bombers. Of the 2 games tomorrow, which one's going to be closer? Money where mouth is.
I think that the Bombers game will be closer.
Okay.
I think that Chiefs are... Actually, no. No, I take that back. Can I take that back?
Yep.
Tectonic. Chiefs tend to snowball their games out
They're
so
noob
fast.
Stompers, yeah.
They are noob stompers, absolutely. Direwolves, they accrue their gold lead much more incrementally. It's slow. It happens over a period of time. And I would say that they're more difficult to beat generally, but having that sort of play style does open you up to sometimes losing against a crazy new team.
What a hedge better. What a hedge better.
Hey,
However,
no, it's going to be the Tectonic game. I chose that one.
All right, you chose that one?
Yeah.
Lock it in. Eddie?
Watch that one.
However, that is all the League of Legends action we have for you today. Thank you so much to Carbon for filling in. I believe that you'll be here again tomorrow, so go home, rest your throat, make sure you get lots of steam in there. Thank you so much to Curtis, Laura, Sybil, as well as Frey for joining us on the Analyst Hangout, to the entire production crew, and of course, Hungry Jacks. Catch you tomorrow for more League of Legends action. There's going to be a fight down the bottom lane. First blood picked up for Juice, and in goes Olaf. He is unstoppable, however, he is very squishy. Parbu now just lives on the back end of that. You can see Praetor has also TP'd in. Juice is putting in the work. Parbu will fall down, gets knocked up. Throws out the ultimate, however. Will put a little bit of damage into only. Flash gets 2 members back. Very nice. And now they've got a huge teamfight potential. Over the wall goes Perdoink, and is able to stun off Frey. Sion ulti has a passive applied, will flash forward and actually onto only. He will get slowed down, does not have flash, and gets Gnar ulted into a wall, will get stunned up and will eventually fall. However, over the wall you can see Frey is putting in work, will pick himself up a double. Juice goes in, however, big engage, able to absolutely blow up Frey as well as Jake, and now they'll continue the fight. And the Bard ulti into the 2 carries being stunned up. and Dream is just sitting there firing in the backline, but cannot do enough damage. Praetor will go down as well, and that is only Juves alive, and that should be Avant much in this one up mid lane and taking the 2-1. It took him 37 minutes in the final one, but there is nothing Juves can do as he watches Nexus destroyed and Avant pick up a 2-1 victory.